seen the ads everywhere. Kurt Schaefer's ads everywhere calling Josh Hawley, for lack of a better word, a terrorist sympathizer. They're everywhere, radio and television. Kurt Schaefer is a state senator. He wants to be your attorney general. Joins us now. Good morning, Kurt Schaefer.
Good morning, McGraw. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us. I understand politics being what they are. You sort of distort or sort of, shade or whatever else. But was there any thought in these ads that you said, maybe this is just a bridge too far? Do you really?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely not. And I stand by those ads. They are 100% true. And I understand he's got a lot of Washington, D.C. insiders who he worked with most of his time in D.C., and they're coming out of the woodwork saying, that's misleading. It's absolutely not. He worked for the Beckett Fund when they sued the Arkansas Department of Corrections so that Malik Abdul Muhammad could grow a beard and practice Sharia law in prison, which was against their rules for safety of the corrections workers. They sued. They sued so he could grow a beard. He worked for the Beckett Fund at the time. He's on the brief twice. Your name, just so we're clear here, your name does not get to be on a U.S. Supreme Court brief by mistake. It doesn't happen.
The Beckett Fund. Hold on. The Beckett Fund has said that it was a mistake and that his name appeared on that brief incorrectly, and that they said they cleared it up after it was brought to their attention.
First of all, that's not believable. Second of all, in 2015, after that case was decided, on May 7th of 2015, he taught a continuing legal education course to New York lawyers approved by the state of New York and sponsored by the Beckett Fund on the case. Thirdly, Professor Laycock, who's actually the attorney of record on the case, because keep in mind, this is how this stuff works. When you file a brief in the U.S. Supreme Court, which I've been admitted to the Supreme Court for a long time, you have to have an attorney of record who's responsible for the case, and you could put as many names on there after as you want. You put Mickey Mouse on there if you want. But it usually reflects the people that are involved in the case. And so under Rule 3.3, which Professor Laycock is obligated to be absolutely candid with the court and make a correction, he never made a correction. And then 2 weeks ago, he told the Post-Dispatch that Hawley had a role in the case. So it's not even debatable. And I understand it is not politically expedient to sue law enforcement so that if somebody serving a life sentence for trying to decapitate their girlfriend, that's inconsistent with the judgment that it takes to be the Attorney General, but that's the fact.
U.S. Attorney General Michael Mukasey has called the ads grossly inadequate, and John Bolton, former UN ambassador, has said, and I quote, Senator Schaefer's shameful ads displays a profound lack of understanding of American national security and a total disregard for the truth.
Okay, so that's on the second ad, which is the People's Mujahideen. His name is on that brief. That's suing this. He worked for John Roberts' law firm, which is Hogan Lavelle, after he clerked for John Roberts who upheld Obamacare twice. So when he was working for Hogan Lavelle, the People's Mujahideen, who were listed in 1997 on the terrorist list by the Clinton administration for killing American soldiers, killing American civilians, blowing up the U.S. Embassy, and plotting to blow up land in New York, they were put on the list for that. All throughout the 8 years of the Bush administration, they tried to get off, and it wasn't until the Clinton-Obama administration, when Clinton was head of the Secretary of State, the State Department, they spent millions. The People's Mujahideen spent millions on lobbying law firms like the one Josh was at to get off the list. I've got a link, hawleyfacts.com, and you can go to it, and you will find an article from the Financial Times, which is an older article, that says Mukasey and Bolton both got paid substantial sums of money by the People's Mujahideen to get them off the list. So, of course, they're going to support him.
So you're saying that the former Attorney General is somehow dirty because they were taking terrorist money, and the ambassador is dirty for taking terrorist money. That's why they're calling you out on this?
I can make the factual statement that, according to the article in Financial Times, they got paid by the People's Mujahideen, as well as many other Washington, D.C. insiders that are supporting Josh and making statements on this. They got paid. Part of the millions and millions that a group that killed American soldiers paid to Washington, D.C. insiders to get off the terrorist organization list.
Kurt Schaefer, if you were to lose this primary, would you endorse Josh Hawley for Attorney General?
You know, I'm a Republican, and I'm gonna do what I can for Republicans, whoever wins these primaries. It goes from the governor all the way down. But I will tell you this. What we've seen in my race, we've seen over $3 million from East Coast and Washington, D.C. money pour in And you talk about those negative ads. His negative ads are 3-to-1 on me on TV from the $3 million that he's brought in from Washington, D.C., yet that's not disclosed anywhere. The donors aren't disclosed. So, when you look at that, we got D.C. insiders trying to buy the Missouri Attorney General's race. I don't think it's appropriate.
How is it possible he's receiving money and it's not disclosed?
Because they're called independent expenditures.
Okay, but he's not getting that money. He's not getting that money. Somebody else is spending that money on behalf of him. He's got nothing to do with that.
Well, we don't know who it is because the donors aren't disclosed.
I understand that,
but
we do know.
Saying all these outrageous things like, I support the Chinese takeover. And, I'm endorsed by every single ag group in the state of Missouri. I'm endorsed by the Missouri Troopers Association. I'm the only one in this race that's ever prosecuted a criminal. Professor Hawley is an MU law professor who has never even been an attorney of record on any case anywhere, not just in Missouri, but anywhere. That's not the type of experience we need in the Attorney General.
But great, I'm glad you brought that up. How can he have no experience everywhere and never be an attorney anywhere and yet be so involved in helping these terrorists?
Because he's not an attorney of record. The attorney of record is the attorney who's responsible for the case. So in the People's Mujahideen, he's on the brief. Look, you can't deny that he's on the brief. He's part of a team, I guess, defending them, just like on Malik Mohammed. But that's my point. My point is he's had very little legal experience, and the little that he does, he has exercised very poor judgment in representing clients that are inconsistent with protecting law enforcement.
If he is so unacceptable as Attorney General to be a terrorist sympathizer, why would you then support him if he wins?
I don't think he's a terrorist sympathizer. I think he just got paid and made bad decisions on who he chose to use his legal talents for. Like I said, from the governor on down, I want to see Republicans win. I don't think he's qualified to be the Attorney General. He's a 36-year-old MU college professor. And I know he says he's an attorney in private practice. He's not. He's a full-time MU employee who is on leave for 1 year on the public's dime to do nothing but run for office. And, I think that number one, being a 36-year-old MU law professor with no real legal experience, except for these quirky cases which demonstrate bad judgment, is inconsistent with protecting law enforcement. I'm the only prosecutor in this race. I've prosecuted murderers, rapists. It's why I'm endorsed by law enforcement, because that's the type of skill that it takes to be the Attorney General of the state of Missouri.
Just so I understand, you said you don't think you wouldn't support him for Attorney General unless he wins the primary, then you would over anybody else on the Democratic side.
Yeah, I don't think he's qualified to be Attorney General, but I would rather see a Republican in the Attorney General's office than see a Democrat in the Attorney General's office. I don't think that's a surprise.
Kurt Schaefer, we are out of time. Thank you for yours. Thanks for checking in.
All right, thanks, McGraw.
You got it. Kurt Schaefer, Missouri State Senator, wants to be Attorney General. If you heard any or all of that, you want to hear it again, we'll certainly put it up online at Facebook, KTRS.com, and everything else. So there you go. 825, Big